Alright, let's talk about these balance adjustments. Lots of stuff to go over here. So, on that note, good morning. And what's up, everyone? So, these are units being adjusted. We'll go over them one by one. First one, Sage Ball and Suzanne. Skill 1. When the target is asleep, after the attack, increases the caster's combat readiness by 20%. This is pretty big already for Sage Ball. So, if he uses S1, puts the target to sleep, he gets 20% CR boost. That's pretty big in my opinion. 85% chance to put them to sleep, so you get extra 5%, which is, it's okay, it's nice. Fallen Cecilia still kind of counters him in that sense, in normal arena and stuff, so he doesn't beat her with that. But skill 3, when the enemy is defeated, silences all remaining enemies for 1 turn, penetrates defense, but cannot trigger a critical hit. That's pretty big. And then Soulburn, all skill cooldowns decreased by 2 turns. This is pretty big, to be honest. Well, sorry. I guess when he's awakened, it also recovers his HP at max still, but penetrates defense. It's pretty surprising. Granted, right, his skill 3 probably still doesn't do that much damage. As far as I know, the scaling wasn't that good, but this will help him do a little bit of damage. He should be able to get some kills when the enemies are low, which might be pretty big for him sometimes, to be honest. So this is a pretty cool buff here for Sage Ball. And alright, next one, LQC. Skill 1's damage dealt increased, okay. And then afterwards, when the target is a Dark Elemental Hero, increases damage dealt and inflicts additional damage to all enemies except for the target, proportional to the caster's attack. So, skill 3 wise, it seems like, yeah, when the target is a Dark Elemental Hero, increases damage dealt, so still the same, but inflicts additional damage to all enemies except for the target. So it's like, you get like a little AoE smash afterwards. It's kind of interesting. So, a little bit interesting. I have her built, so I might start using her a little bit more again. So we'll see what happens there. Alright, those are 2 MLs. Let's talk about this one. Cerise triggers a dual attack. Sorry, skill 1. Triggers a dual attack from a random ally when Froststorm is on cooldown. That's pretty big. That's pretty scary, to be honest. Skill 2. Along with stunning them now, makes them unable to be buffed for 2 turns, and you increase your caster's combat readiness by 50%. That's also pretty big. And then skill 3, attacks using an advantageous element. Damage dealt by the skill will be increased. So along with, damage-wise, she was never really used for damage, but attacks using an advantageous element, that's pretty scary. This Cerise buff is pretty nutty, to be honest. And looks pretty damn good. So yeah, there's something that will go with her, that will go over real soon. But Cerise buff seems pretty strong, to be honest. Landy. Combat readiness increase, skill 1. Combat readiness increase in the amount of fighting spirit gained are doubled when an enemy is buffed. Damage dealt is increased. Okay, that's pretty cool. Alright, her passive attack increases by 20%, and the stacks are, you can stack up to 3 times. So I guess the biggest thing about this is it takes her a less amount of time to stack up, plus she gets an extra 10% now at the end. So previously she gets 50% at the end, but it takes 5 turns. Now she gets 60%, but it takes 3 turns. Alright, and then full burst. Fires at all enemies and grants all allies increased speed for 2 turns. So this is pretty cool. Yeah, so instead of just having the caster get speed buff, now all allies will get speed buff. And then you increase their combat readiness by 15%, okay. And then when Fighting Spirit is full, consumes all Fighting Spirit to penetrate the target's defense by 50%. Soul Burn grants an extra turn. The skill tree is a lot better now. Granted, the one thing I think I still have an issue with on Landy is she doesn't have any way to survive. So they didn't address the issue where Landy survives. So she's still really susceptible to dying quickly and stuff like that. Unfortunately. So I think that's the biggest part. That was the biggest part about me before, along with, you know, her not doing that much damage if enemies had buffs. But I guess now with the penetrate, targets defense by 50%. You know, that'll help her do a little bit more damage along with the soul burn and all. But biggest issue is still her not surviving for me. But I mean, yeah, who cares about surviving? I guess if you can kill your enemies. So we'll see if she can kill the enemies. We'll see how much damage she does after this. Since I do have her molded, we'll test her out, especially since Free on Equip is here. All right, and then Fire Maya. So attacks with the shield with a 100% chance each to stun for 1 turn before decreasing combat readiness by 30%. Okay, that's a pretty good. Okay, that's interesting. Morale boost has a 75% chance to provoke all enemies for 1 turn before a 100% chance to decrease attack for 2 turns. Increases defense of the caster for 2 turns. Oh, that's pretty. Okay. Okay, that's pretty cool. Okay, Maya's buff looks interesting. I know there's some people, I have 1 or 2 guildmates that have her built, so I'll ask them what they feel about her. She actually looks pretty. This actually looks pretty good. Definitely usable in this case, to be honest, for a lot of people. If you don't have any sort of like fire defensive unit, right? Let's say you're new, you're free to play or something, right? It makes her quite usable, I feel like, because even previously before, she wasn't too bad. Alright, Pearl Horizon. So this is kind of interesting because she just got her specialty change, right? So I'm not gonna go over the normal one, I'm gonna go over the specialty change one. So attacks on enemies with a 50% chance to put them to sleep for 1 turn, and then increases combat readiness of the caster by 10% per sleep buff inflicted. Oh. Okay, that's pretty big. Attacks the enemy and stuns them for 1 turn. When the enemy is asleep, increases target defense for 2 turns and deals additional damage equivalent to 15% of the target's max health. That's pretty big actually also. Especially if you're targeting tankier units per se. Fallen Cecilia or something, you know, if you want to do damage to that. Okay, that's pretty cool. Endless Nightmare. When the enemy is asleep, decrease defense for 2 turns. It deals additional damage equivalent. Oh, so everything's scaling off the target's max health now. Soulburn ignores effect versus. Okay, that's pretty interesting. Her buff is pretty good in my opinion, yeah, especially since the scaling is off the target's max health now. Technically, you don't have to build her too tanky, and that'll help a lot, especially against like the tanky, beefy enemies that the current meta is in, right? So you can use her against a lot of those people. Okay, that's pretty cool. Okay, well, let's talk about this. Guiding Light. At the start of the battle, grant stealth for 1 turn. At the end of the caster's turn, has a 70% chance to grant stealth for 2 turns. Stealth granted at the end of the caster's turn can be activated once every 2 turns. Lord save my soul. I'm really afraid of this because this artifact, along with the Cerise buff, it makes her very, very scary. At the start of the battle, right, it grants stealth for 1 turn. So this means units like Cerise and Flitica, like this isn't on their turn, right? At the start of their turn, I mean, as far as I'm reading, at the start of the battle. So the moment the battle starts, Cerise, Flitica, these 2 units, they get stealth. Assassin Coley, Assassin Sid, Assassin Sid and Assassin Coley cannot do anything now against speed contested. So this is indirectly nerfing A Coley and A Sid on their usage in speed contesting people. This makes Cerise and Flitica very valuable, very scary. So the guiding light buff is amazing. I'll put it that way. It's amazing. At the same time, it's scary to see this buff here for it. As this might, I'm worried this might change things a lot. Bastion of Perlucia grants immunity for 1 turn, so this is pretty cool. I don't think the immunity makes that big of a difference. I don't know if this is that good, to be honest, because it's still only the ally with the highest attack. I guess if you're afraid of getting cleaved, but I don't know. I don't think the immunity does too much to the Bastion. To be honest, I don't feel like right now so far it's gonna do too much. If you're gonna get cleaved, you're gonna get cleaved either way. The shield is still the same, so that doesn't make a difference there. The immunity doesn't make a difference for that. If you're running against a control comp, you're probably gonna get your immunity stripped also. So it's not like you're gonna run your units without immunity now. Otherwise, that means you're running Bastion every time, which I think there's better knight artifacts like Aureus, Adamant Shield, right? A lot of those are used more often to help protect your team more than Bastion. Because once, as always, once the shield is gone, once the immunity is gone, that's it. The artifact is useless. So after all that disappears, Bastion essentially loses any sort of usefulness it gave, and now you have a dead artifact on your knight. So still not too big a fan of this for Bastion. Still can't really see where it's gonna be used too much. Dux Noctis. Dux Noctis before, so they increased the scaling 4% to 8 times instead of 2% to 12 times. I still don't know if this is that good, right? It just scales higher. Like, it just scales faster again and higher. I'd have to find out and test to see if this is worth it on anyone, because as always, there's always better artifacts usually. So we'll have to see about this one. I'm not sure right now about Dux Noctis. Alright, 4-star artifacts, Andre's crossbow. This is pretty good. You know, some people use this already previously, but removing 3 souls with a single attack, that's pretty cool. I like this. Yeah, useful for certain units. And then Silver Ring. 100% chance to increase the attack of the ally except for the caster with the highest attack. So this is targeting now, so you know who this is going on. So this is pretty cool. Some people might be able to make use of this, possibly. Granted, at the same time, there's also better artifacts usually, but some people might try to use this to cheat stuff with this. Alright, aside from that, that's all there is. And hey, if you guys have any questions, feel free. Join my Discord, come to my stream. Yeah, we'll talk about this more tonight. Peace.